Okay, just for a little change of pace, I thought I'd start pulling this engine apart and see just what I have going on here. And look at that ring gear. That is nasty. That might even be why it got parked. But we'll see. I ran into some other nastiness. That front pulley. Somebody's welded it. Instead of the little bendy tabs, they've welded the nut. And it looks like welding right the way around, like the pulley came apart and they welded it back together and then welded the nut. So that's going to be a little bit fun to get apart. Okay, I'm back working on this this engine. I got that front pulley off. I didn't even totally destroy the bolt. And to be honest, it didn't really put up much of a fight. I was able to just grind the weld, and there wasn't very deep penetration, I guess, because I was able to get that off. So I started pulling it apart, and so far I'm very pleased. Certainly with the crankshaft. Main bearings I haven't really had much of a look at yet. Anyway, what I wanted to do is just hop on here and show you. It's a real pain in the butt to get those the main bearing caps off. They slide right down into the block, and they're difficult to get out. But the way I did it, I'm not sure if that's a 1/2 inch fine thread, but it looks like it, about that. I found a bolt. It had a castle nut on it. I think it's out of the front suspension. It's just in my spares, and that fits that thread. And I had a bracket that I saved. I had no idea why. I figured it'd come in handy someday. And I guess today's the day, because I just threaded that into that main. See, I already got 2 of them out, so it works, but watch this one make a liar out of me. Let's see how it goes. And then I'm just using it like a slide hammer. Well, it has moved, so I'm going to win. I do have a slide hammer, but none of the adapters or anything were really going to work nicely for me. So just a flat plate that was a little bit longer with a hole in the middle would actually work better than this. But got the job done. Now I'll finish pulling this apart, and then I'll take you around and show you the results. So I just taken the studs out. These are for the oil pump, but smaller studs. I'll let you in on a little trick. Okay. Well, make a liar out of me. Last one worked great. Last one worked just great. Try this one. That's the way it's supposed to work. I'm just not getting that other one tightened down enough. I go down far enough that I'm not on the threads. I'm down on the shank part, and okay, now it works. Anyway, comes in handy sometimes. Well, I think I might have another boat anchor here. I got all the pistons out. I knew I was going to have to scrap the pistons. This thing was locked up pretty tight, and I beat on hard to get the pistons out. But looking at this, I'm not sure how well you can see that. There, now you can see it. It looks like it's had a hole in the block that's been welded up. So this thing has come apart and thrown a rod that's right about in the position where that number 3 rod would have hit. And I noticed one of the first indicators was that my number 3 cap here, oops, that's number 2. I'm going from the wrong end. Bring it up here. Number 3 cap. You can see that. Anyway, that's a number 4 stamped on it. All the rest of them had, let's put it down there. Okay, all of the rest of them were marked with little dots. Like here's number 4, and it's got 4 little peen marks. I'm getting things backwards there. Well, maybe I'm wrong, because this one also has 4. I think that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the first one is hard to see, but it's there. So that's got 4 peen marks. Number 1 also has 4 peen marks. Oh. Anyway, the crankshaft itself looked fantastic. I was getting pretty excited. This looks, it looks nice and clean, at least until you get down to the rear main. That some moisture's gotten in there, but I think that would probably polish out. And all the connecting rod bearings looked great. All these journals, yeah, a little bit of, but looked really good. The pistons, not so much. One of these ones, which one is it? There it is. That one's a mess. I don't know. I don't even know what would cause the chunk to come out of the side there. I guess a broken ring or something. Maybe the engine seized due to heat. I don't know, but that's a mess. Yeah. Okay, number 1. That's had some piece of a valve rattling around in there or something. It's been mashed up pretty good. Yeah. So now I don't know. This was the engine that came with Dolly when I got her. It's a late 1500. It had the high starter mount. Now I assume that the only thing that differentiates between the two is the rear plate. If I change the rear plate, I can probably use the high mount starter. I think You guys can confirm that for me if you don't mind, but anyway, so that's where I'm at. I'm still searching for an engine. Okay, engine number 3. I took that other engine, the one that was originally in Dolly. I've set it aside. This engine is the engine out of my parts car. I wasn't too hopeful for this one because the top of the engine wasn't sealed up. It didn't have the valve cover on it. There were leaves and garbage sitting on top of the valves. For a little while, it sat out there with just a garbage bag over it because I took the body off the chassis. And so this was still in the chassis for a couple of months. And I had a garbage bag over it, but I know it got some water into it. I dumped out probably a couple of inches of water out of the oil pan before I started getting oil out of it. So I was not too hopeful with this one, but I'm actually quite excited about it now because, well, a couple of things. First off, it's not stuck. All the other ones that were sealed up and that were stuck. This one turns freely. So that's the first plus. I checked the bore, and this is still standard bore. It's never been rebuilt. It doesn't look like there's all that much wear, which doesn't make sense because this looks to be the numbers matching engine for that car. But anyway, if I put my dial gauge in here and move it, that goes right to 0. 0 would be standard bore. That's incredible. And you see, you preset this using a vernier. And I had the vernier set. This one goes down to about half of a thou. Or no. It's, yeah, that's about 5 thou there, maybe. Yeah, showing a little bit of wear right there. I go in the other direction. It goes down to 1 thou. And this one, that goes to 0. So anyway, that's it's kind of hard to explain. I'm going to take it apart, and then I'm going to do a proper job of measuring all the bores. But there's a little bit of a ridge on this one. For some reason, this one seems to have a bit of wear in the cylinder, but it still looks very decent. And I did a quick check on the others, and all the rest of them seem very, very good. So I don't know, it's strange. Anyway, I'm going to press on, and I'm going to tear this down, and I'm a little worried about what I find when I get into the bottom, knowing that there's been some water down there. But at least I think I have a rebuildable block, even if I have to get it bored. It's got lots of room to go. It's never been done. Hasn't been sleeved. I cleaned up a little bit around the tops of the bores, and you can see where I polished it up a little bit. There's no sign of any that there's been a sleeve pressed in there before. So yeah, that's kind of a nice surprise. So hopefully I've got one that I can work with. There's an awful lot going on with this engine that I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around. I'll bring you over and have a look at this oil pickup. I mean, help me understand how that gets trashed down in the bottom of the oil pan. Holes through it, it's all bent up, it's like, what the heck? Anyway, keep going. So I have finished disassembling this engine number 3. The first one was the 3 main bearing 1800 MGB engine that I pulled apart, only to find that it was already 40 over with a sleeve in it. Not impossible to use it, but more expensive. The second engine I pulled apart, which is earlier in this video, was the engine that was originally in Dolly. This engine is out of the parts car. This one is an earlier 1500 engine. I was very skeptical about this engine. I didn't think it was going to pan out for me, but it might. But it's really is a puzzler. And well, I'll bring you in and I'll show you a few things, and I will explain. Now, first of all, and I think I showed you this already, the oil pickup is beat up. It looks pretty goopy. I don't know how an oil pickup gets beat up like that down in the bottom of the pan. This oil pan also looked full of crud. Terrible down in the bottom there. But this engine was left open for a bit outside with an valve cover on it. That's why I wasn't too optimistic about it even being usable. But in reality, it might be the best one yet. Looking down the cylinder bores, I should probably have another light here. Here we go. The cylinder bores look pretty good. I did clean them up just a bit with a hone, but only enough to take the dirt off so I could get some accurate measurements. So it looks pretty good. There really isn't much of a ridge. I'm not going to be able to hold the light and point at the same time, but there is virtually no ridge on 3 of the cylinders, but number 2, there's quite a strong ridge on 2 sides. Not too much over there, and just a slight ridge over there, but on those 2 sides, I've got a heavy ridge. So that's kind of odd. Now, in measuring, and I'll show you this. Now, I'll try and stay focused on that while I point. In number 2, see, all of these numbers are in thousandths of an inch. So the zeros are actually standard bore. This engine hasn't been bored out at all. So I've got virtually nowhere on cylinder number 1, just a 0.5 at the bottom in one direction. That's half a thousandth of an inch. It's very, very similar for 3 and 4. But in number 2, you can see that at the top, see, this was at the top, down 1.5 inches and down 3 inches. The stroke is 89 millimeters, which is a little over 3-inch stroke. So the first reading in every case was just below the ridge. So just below that ridge, I've got 5 thou wear on the back side, of the cylinder, and I've got 3.5 thousandths of an inch wear sideways. So I don't know. How can this engine, which actually the serial number that's marked on the engine here matches what is marked on the firewall of the car. So might have been marked on later if this was a later engine, but in appearance it looks like it's the engine matching numbers engine. Now I'll swing around here, and we'll go to the crankshaft. Now I measured the crankshaft, and the main bearings are 10 thousandths of an inch undersized, and the connecting rod journals are 30 thou undersized, and that's marked right on the I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get enough light on that, and I don't have my glasses on, so I can't even tell if that's showing up on camera. But anyway, there are, or maybe that's it up there, I don't know. Anyway, it's marked 10 and 30. The pistons all look pretty good. The piston on number 2, right near the very top, you can see some scuffing, which would jive with the wear in the cylinder. So, but all in all, I mean, it looks pretty good. You can see that there is wear on the main bearings. Same thing here. It's not really scored, but you can feel that it does have some wear. So what I may end up doing, I might end up using the original crankshaft in Dolly, because it actually looks pretty good. It's sitting over here, and that one is 20 thousandths of an inch undersized on both the mains and the connecting rod bearings. I just have to try and polish up that rear main, and if that cleans up, then I think that might be the usable crankshaft. Either way, I'm going to have to, I think I'm going to have to get the engine bored, so it means I won't be able to use the standard pistons, and I'm going to need a camshaft and lifters, but anyway, the main thing is I think I have a block and a crankshaft that are going to work for me. Okay, so now I at least know that I have an engine, or a combination of engine components, that I can work with. I'm going to clean this mess up. I haven't dared to touch the body while I've been working on the engine. I don't want to get it covered in grease. But now I'm going to clean things up. I'm going to put all this stuff away and get back to work on the body. And I'll get working on those fenders and see if I can't get them smartened up and get those dog's leg panels welded in and that. So anyway, thank you for watching, and the usual, like, subscribe, click the notifications, and help out the channel. And go on back, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.